A new process to advance consumer protection laws underway. The recent dismissal of a sexual offences case prompts a call for victim support and a review of the Sexual Offences Act, and school principals want to strictly adhere to the Education Act. I am Idona Jean-Baptiste of the Channel 5 News. Details coming up.
Flashback, a look at events of the past in Dominica. Watch every Wednesday during Mappin's Channel 5 News.
First up, a consultant from Italy is helping Dominica advance its consumer protection laws as part of a CARICOM project. The Ministry of Trade on Monday started a series of workshops on consumer protection in collaboration with the CARICOM Single Market and Economy Unit. Those workshops will focus on 3 topics to end on the 23rd of October. Among the topics to be explored is a rapid alert system on dangerous non-food items.
Our task is to transmit some of the experience that we have gained within the European Union with regards to the advancing of consumer rights. For example, in the case of purchasing of defective goods, consumers should have a redress, making sure they are able to get redress by the suppliers, and also they are protected by misleading communication, misleading information which might distort consumers. CARICOM as an organization has agreed on a common model law, consumer protection law.
She says effective enforcement will be dealt with in the legislation.
Consumer protection should not only be the adoption of a legislation, but also a sound enforcement of those rules. So this is fundamental, because legislation with no teeth would not be important and useful for consumers. So this model bill, which is in the process of being adopted by all member states of CARICOM, provides for these rights of consumers, duties of suppliers, but also for an agency which will be in charge of investigating and deciding cases.
Dominica already has a consumer protection bill which is waiting to be passed in Parliament.
Those bills are now have now been uploaded on the government's website, so that members of the public can be able to peruse those bills, to read them, and to be able to give comments and make queries, so that at the end of it, when the bill goes to Cabinet and then to Parliament, it will be a bill that would have benefited from an extensive amount of consultation and would house both the queries of the consumers and the business places alike.
In other major developments, calls for a formal referral victim support system and review of Sexual Offences Act following the recent dismissal of a sexual assault case. A young man who was facing charges of indecent assault and unlawful sexual connection with a 12-year-old girl will no longer have to appear in court for that matter. He was discharged by a jury on the advice of the trial judge when the trial into that matter came up at the High Court on Thursday. After taking the oath to testify, the child told the court that she was no longer interested in the matter. Her mother also echoed her sentiments, stating that the accused was apologetic. The child's mother said she was not bribed. The incident took place in 2013, therefore the child is still under 16 years. Chief Police Prosecutor Claude Wicks says this frustrates the court system.
This is public mischief if you really look at it. You take the resources of the state, police, all about investigating, take people to hospital, you have to get to a medical examiner, the doctor, then the police, all of the paperwork, you activate the director of public prosecution, the entire system, the magistrate taking notes, writing down, clerks, police giving evidence, the very victim, the mother, doctor is have given evidence, and it goes up to the High Court. You've activated the High Court as well. That is public mischief. That is taking the resources of the state for a ride.
Sexual offense matters dominated the cause list in this criminal session of the High Court. This was the situation in last year's High Court criminal session for this period.
We can say it has now become a malignant problem in Dominica. There's been a campaign for the age of consent to be brought up in Dominica. And what really has happened in Trinidad, for that matter, they brought up they raised the age of consent to 18. So that means Trinidad in itself had its problems.
ASP Wicks believes there is need for public education on the effects of sexual violation of a child.
And I believe that we have to look at, there's room for openings and amendments with regard to the Sexual Offences Act, among other pieces of legislation. Something somewhere that when a child has testified at the law court or statement is being given, I'm not any kind of draftsman. They are the experts, the relevant authorities, the experts who can start to think about that. As a person in the courtroom, as a prosecutor, myself as a senior police officer from the police department, it's high time that we seek to arrest it.
Both the accused and victim cannot be named because the country's Sexual Offences Act of 1998 speaks to anonymity of those involved in sex crimes. Meantime, a child rights advocate has called on the justice system to consider victim support for those sexually abused. Head of Lifeline Ministries, Tina Alexander, has been coordinating a victim support program for the past 2 years. Lifeline Ministries is part of a national non-governmental coalition against child sexual abuse. Through Lifeline's victim support scheme, trained volunteers come alongside the victim and family to help them understand why they are going to court, amongst other matters.
The police have been very supportive to us when we were doing the training. They welcomed the idea, so it's not that they're against the idea, but yes, we do need a system. We need a system that will enable people to be offered the service at the point of referral. Because when you go to that police station, it's hard. It's hard to go and report what's happened to you. And if you had somebody that you met at that point who knew all the circumstances, who'd been with you when you had to face the perpetrator, who'd been with you when you went to court, been with you in the police station, been with you at the hospital, I believe that that person is then a real facilitator to make sure that the report turns into a successful prosecution.
Alexander is advocating for a system to be put in place so all victims get a chance to receive support. She says they already have an informal arrangement with the Office of Director of Prosecutions.
But I would like to see it formalised. In fact, I would like to see a victim support unit attached to the DPP's office eventually. And if we had a family court, that would be the case, but we don't have a family court now. And so as a result, the adult court is dealing with these matters in a way that really is almost abusive in itself. Can you imagine a small child having to be in the witness box? We have cameras, the cameras are not being used. They could be being seen in a different room and it could be projected by the cameras, but they're not being used. We're asking a question. That doesn't make sense. We're seeing people waiting outside the court for everybody to watch them. That's unnecessary. We could have a more family-friendly court, even if they don't feel they have the resources yet to have a specialised family court.
She also thinks there should be a follow-up of victims even after such a trial is over.
Quite often I might meet these people many years later when they've got difficulties in their relationships, or they find that they've had almost a promiscuous outburst because they've had their innocence stolen at a young age. But what I wanted to tell you is that it highlights for me the fact that we've got a problem with bail. Okay, when people are accused of sexual offences, they should not be allowed to have contact with the victim, whether it's threatening the victim, whether it's cajoling the victim, whether it's bribing the victim, whether it's begging the victim. They should not have contact with the victim. And our bail conditions are not correct how they are now. In fact, I'm not really in favour of accused rapists having bail at all.
On the tourism scene, the new 140-room 5-star ultra-luxury Cabritz Resort Kempinski at Douglas Bay is expected to employ 500 people at peak time during construction and about the same number when in operation.
Ground was broken on Friday for the resort, which will be located between Cabritz National Park and Tartan. Partners Range Development and the Kempinski Group have agreed that the new hotel will be staffed with Dominicans at senior and middle management level. But for this to happen, they believe the process must start now. The Minister for Tourism says the Dominica State College will play a critical role in ensuring that our people are trained to take advantage of the many jobs expected to be created by this massive project.
Range and Kempinski Group are committed to assist our people via training and education. This will be done by the provision of multiple internships, not just at the State College, but all over the world where the various Kempinski brand is. These internships will be for a period of at least 1 year, and they'll be paid internships. So persons will be able to go abroad and learn from these prestigious properties and be able to bring back and retrain the persons in Dominica. We have also discussed this with the State College, and we are just this morning, and we are waiting on a list of at least 25 students who will be able to participate in this paid internship program for no less than 1 year.
The last 2 days, but the last 6 months, we already started talking with Ranch about internship. I think you extensively mentioned what we're trying to do. I think it's important to leverage on the network of Kempinski. We have, like I mentioned, 76 hotels around the world, and what we would like to do and what we will do, we discussed already intensively. We will have some young students getting to work in Europe or in the Middle East, or why not in China, in order to get acquainted to the flair of Kempinski, what is Kempinski is all about, and what is it we would like to do here. Those students will be then obviously brought back for the opening of the hotel. So we will have, because it's important for us that we work with a local environment, but the local personnel also.
The hotel to be opened in 2018 is expected to strictly adhere to environmental preservation.
This site, without doubt, rivals any other hotel site in the Caribbean. Natural beauty, calm waters. And before you clap, Minister, you have my pledge. We will respect the environmental integrity of this site as we are entrusted to do so. Develop in harmony with the land and sea to ensure sustainability. This resort will employ close to 500 people at the peak of construction and a similar number during operations. Twice this number will be employed indirectly servicing the hotel, whether that is the individual who sells us stones, the individual who provides tours to the discerning guests, the individual who sells us produce. We welcome all local vendors and entrepreneurs with open arms. Please introduce yourself to us and let us work together.
In related news, Parliamentary Representative for Portsmouth and Minister for Trade, Energy and Employment Ian Douglas says development projects like the new Kempinski Resort have been long in coming to that area.
He says since 1968, several attempts to develop the area have been aborted until now.
And we have been blessed with a hard-working government headed by an absolute visionary genius who continues to craft a foreign policy and diplomatic strategy geared towards an aggressive national development agenda. So on behalf of all the constituents of both Portsmouth and the other neighboring constituencies, I want to welcome each and every one of you to this ceremony and to say to you, welcome to the future playground of the rich and famous.
Douglas says the result will be a major game changer for the North and Dominica in general.
I know the economic impact of this hotel both during and after the construction phase. Much needed employment for many of our people. A major consumer of our agricultural crops, vegetables, meats and fish and other services. Stimulation of interest in pursuing careers in tourism and tourism management. Improvement in the provision of other ancillary services, very much like what Ross University have done on the other side of the town. Increased sales and revenues to businessmen and merchants. A general improvement in the sense of pride and well-being of our people, not only those who will work at this establishment, but all of those who will be associated with this development.
The project is funded under Government Citizenship by Investment Program.
The construction and operation of this facility undoubtedly will bring tremendous economic benefit to the entire country and will transform this part of this country into a vibrant center of economic and social development. I therefore call on farmers of Portsmouth, Clifton, Cottage, Pennville, Thibault, Vickers, Woodford Hill, and other surrounding areas to prepare yourself for the new demands for agricultural and livestock products that this resort will need to feed its guests.
The first Kempinski hotel was built in Berlin, Germany, 1897, making it the oldest hotel group in Europe with 76 hotels around the world. Kempinski operates 75 five-star hotels in 30 countries, and this one will be the first in the Caribbean.
This is Channel 5 News. Coming up, where are we with the Center of Excellence and Innovation? The latest with that and more when we come back. Thanks for staying with us. The Minister for Education is calling on principals to straighten up based on negative reports he has received. Lurian Graham Carter has that story.
Peter Sinjar was addressing representatives at the National Principals Meeting for 2015 to 2016. He says that there is a small number of principals who are denying students their rights. Sinjar called on principals to adhere to the Education Act. He says no principal has the authority to deny a child the opportunity to write the Grade 6 National Assessment without first speaking or consulting with parents.
We've had a number of cases where children have been denied writing the GSAT exams. We then discover that these kids turn 13 and 14, and principals tag them and brand them as underperformers. And since they have passed the required age for grade 6 and cannot enter secondary school because that child did not do the requisite examinations, principals say, well, you cannot be at my school. Let me say to you, by law, you can be prosecuted for that.
He further stated that there are some principals who refuse to accept students because of lack of school furniture.
So no child should be denied entry at any of our schools because of a lack of furniture. Report the matter and allow the ministry to do its work. We are loaded with officers within the ministry, maybe too many of them, of education. So let them do their work. Let them find the furniture. And if there is still a problem, then they'll report it to the permanent secretary. It will get to me and it will get to the Minister of Finance, who has been mandated by the Constitution to find the resources to ensure that our schools are equipped.
Minister Sinjar told principals that they must strictly adhere to the National Curriculum Framework.
I thought that I was actually hallucinating until such time that I actually looked at the book list. And it was so long I had to tick them out, one after the other, until I got to 20. Friends, let me say to you, this to my mind borders on near insanity. And I'm serious about that. So those of you principals, Dr. Blaise and Chief Education Officer and Mr. Gist, do your work. In fact, I'm going to request of the Chief Education Officer that every school adhere strictly to what is given by the Ministry of Education.
Lurian Graham Carter, Channel 5 News.
In more news, the technologically savvy will now be better able to access the government's internal directory via smart devices.
This was announced Monday as the Information, Communication and Technology Unit launched a mobile app for the Government of Dominica's internal directory. Minister for Technology says the mobile app has many benefits for its users.
This mobile app represents the newest addition to our e-government program, which commenced in 2009 and aims at improving the quality and timeliness of service delivery to citizens and business alike. Online services are increasingly becoming part of a broader services strategy with benefits to customers and improving efficiency by cutting process costs, managing process performance, creating empowerment, and making strategic connections in government.
Daru says the launching of this mobile app will allow for the public to have better and easier access to government officials and services.
The government of Dominica, through the ICTU, is beginning to leverage mobile apps to further engage citizens to understand and have access to important information and initiatives. The Dominica Internal Directory mobile app affords easy access to the most up-to-date contact information by just clicking the app. Importantly, once downloaded onto the mobile device, internet connection is not required to access the contents of the app.
The mobile app for the Government of Dominica Internal Directory, which took 3 months to develop, can be used by both Android and Windows devices.
The new directory is a listing of all government offices as well as other relevant information, including locations, telephone numbers, email, and web addresses. A desktop version of the government's directory is accessible through the government's website at www.dominica.gov.dm.
The Center of Excellence and Innovation for ICT has advanced a step closer to being ready for use by the public.
The governments of Dominica and India had signed on to a memorandum of understanding for the establishment of the ICT Center of Excellence and Innovation in October 2011. A technical team from India is in Dominica for 3 weeks to oversee phase 2 of the project.
So now we are moving on to the second phase, which primarily will focus on the infrastructure in terms of the hardware and the software for the fittings of the center, the installation of a firewall, all of the security features, and we also looking to put up the institutional sign. The team from India came last week. They've already done their assessments of what we've done, and they're very satisfied. The shipment of equipment for installation, the first shipment is already on the island, and we are hoping that by the end of October, the installation of all of the hardware, the software, and the furniture will be ready by the end of October into November.
Phase 1 of the project, which included the complete renovation of a section of the upper campus of the Dominica State College in Stock Farm, was completed earlier this year in the amount of $290,000 EC dollars.
We have placed tremendous emphasis on the ICT sector and providing services to allow our citizens to have ease of access and to develop skills and also specific areas that we'll be working on as well. App development is one of the key areas. So I'm very pleased with the work that we've done thus far.
The projected date for the opening of the National Center of Excellence and Innovation is January 2016.
The phase 3 will be the actual beginning of classes, and that is a very important stage, because what we've done is that we've partnered with the private sector to identify some of the key areas of training, because the whole purpose of the Center of Excellence is to provide the requisite skills to our people. So once they've completed these training programs, they can either go into the job market right away or to themselves become entrepreneurs by providing jobs for themselves, which we want to continue to promote. And that is something that I believe we will achieve. We are well on our way, and we will continue to make strides in the sector.
Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
And assistance has come to the victims of the October 9th fire in Newtown.
2 Fridays ago, several families in the Newtown area lost all their belongings as their houses were engulfed in a fire. Since the incident, appeals have been made to the public to assist in any way possible. The First Convent Prep and the Second Roseau Brownie Packs heeded the call for help and made a contribution towards the affected families on Friday.
We came here to show appreciation and to give back to the community for the people who lost everything in the fire. And we just thought that this time would be fitting to make a presentation to you all. As we said, our motto is lend a hand, and we did just that.
Member of Parliament for the Roseau South constituency applauded the Brownies for lending support to those in need.
We are very, very appreciative here at Newtown for the lending hand which you have extended to the fire victims. I must say, when I came here this evening, I was overwhelmed to see quite a number of children, beautiful children, here to present support to the Newtown fire victims. I noticed that you gave us stationery, you gave us clothes, you gave us food. But above all, you gave us love this evening. And of course, water is life. But above all the gifts that you have presented to us at Newtown, what I think is most important is the love. Just the love. It's priceless.
Channel 5 News can also confirm that government has provided aid to those displaced by the fire. Your sports highlights coming up next. In football, Dublin Football Club maintained their winning streak as the DFA Premier League continued over the weekend. Saturday's game saw Dublin with a 3-2 win over Bath State, despite Bath State's Randolph Peltier's efforts. Chad Bertrand of Dublin Football Club shot and scored twice to give Dublin yet another win for the season. The second game saw Harlem up against Steel Bombers with an impressive 4-1 victory in favor of Harlem, giving them their first win of the league. Meantime, Signman and Icons opened day 2 of the DFA Premier League when Signman beat Icons 2-1. Game 2 on Sunday saw defending champions Exodus up against Sagicor Southeast. The game culminated on 4-1 in favor of Exodus. On to cricket now. The first test match between England and Pakistan ended in a draw on day 5. Saturday's match saw England with 74 for 4 in 11 overs in the second innings. Root and Bell wrapped things up when they saw a partnership of 38 runs to end the match in a draw. Meantime, Sri Lanka defeated West Indies by an innings and 6 runs. After having scored 227 runs in 68.3 overs, the West Indies lost to Sri Lanka, bringing the game to a premature end. Taylor was out LBW after contributing 5 runs, while Gabriel saw 7 not out. In more cricket action, day 1 of Pakistan Women Tour of West Indies saw Pakistan with a win. Pakistan claimed 6 wickets and had 11 balls remaining on Friday. West Indies women saw combined 222 runs for 9 after 50 overs. Day 2 of the match saw West Indies women victorious as they claimed 3 wickets with 19 balls remaining. Pakistan women scored 149 all out in 46.1 overs. Day 3 of the match will commence on Wednesday. Approximately 50 karate students have advanced to a higher level after they passed their karate exams at a local martial arts academy on Saturday. Founder of the Universal Martial Arts Academy, Sensei Shana Robbins, says he is pleased with the results.
All the students here was very successful. No one failed. A few students got a few skips and moved to different levels.
Robin expressed gratitude to his supporters and announced plans to expand.
I just want to say thank you to the Dominican public, to the parents, to the students, for everybody for supporting this. Right now we are planning on opening another school in Canada. We are planning on opening another one somewhere in Florida. So once everything goes well, next year, God's willing, we'll have a couple more schools.
In volleyball news, the male and female teams returned to Dominica on Monday following their participation in the Nausicaa Beach Circuit this weekend. The team saw some wins and losses against their rivals at the games. We'll bring you details in a subsequent sportscast. The NACAC 10K, which took place in Guadeloupe on the weekend, did not go well for Jabez Ferrara. Long-distance runner Ferrara had to pull out of the event due to muscle complications.
Eventually, he did not complete the course. He sustained some cramps to his calf during the course of the race and had to pull out. So he's been due back today, Monday.
Meantime, the Emmanuel Andrew Memorial 5K held in Marigot on Sunday saw winners from different track and field clubs on island.
Cameron Carbon of the Pioneers Athletics Club won that event. There was a total of 60 runners who participated, and he was victor in that event. Second place was Bram Sanderson, and third went to Damian Lucian from the Carinapo Eagles. And also fourth place, I think, also went to Garrison Josie was with the Carinapo Eagles. These are top 4 places I can surely say that I know of. I think 6th place is to Avis Mills of Pioneers.
And the weather report is next.
Good evening, viewers, and welcome to tonight's weather broadcast. An upper-level trough has anchored itself across the Eastern Caribbean, and infrared satellite images showed convection associated with this trough mainly across the Leeward Islands. It also showed convection associated with a low-level trough, which is expected in our area Wednesday into Thursday. We now move on to today's visible satellite imagery, which showed some low-level clouds mainly in the interior. Mostly fair skies were observed at Canefield and Douglas Charles today. And radar imagery indicated limited shower activity across the islands. Tonight's weather is expected to be fair to partly cloudy with a few scattered showers with light and variable winds. And tomorrow, partly cloudy skies with a few scattered showers are expected, with winds now up to 25 kilometers per hour. Sea conditions tomorrow, slight to moderate in open water, with waves peaking near 5 feet. And looking ahead, partly cloudy to cloudy skies are expected over the next 3 days, with a slight increase in cloudiness and shower activity on Thursday due to the low-level trough. And across the Les Antilles tomorrow, occasional cloudy skies with a few scattered showers are expected across the chain. And on the international scene tomorrow, sunny conditions are expected in New York, London and Caracas, with a chance of rain in Miami and Beijing. The sun will rise tomorrow at 5:58 a.m. and will set at 5:42 p.m. For further information, visit our website at weather.gov.dm or call the weather hotline at 447-5555. Thank you for joining us this evening. Have a good night.
Before we wrap up, all new Mapping subscribers are entitled to a discount. You only pay $69 a month and give yourself a chance to win a tablet and other prizes. The offer runs until the 31st of December. That's news. The headlines again. A new process to advance consumer protection laws underway. The recent dismissal of a sexual offences case prompts a call for victim support and a review of the Sexual Offences Act. And school principals want to strictly adhere to the Education Act. Let us know what you think. Contact us at news@mapping2k4.com. You can also access our past newscasts on the YouTube page. On behalf of the production team, I am Idona Jean-Baptiste. Thanks for watching. Join us again tomorrow.